Hey guys, happy Monday. We got a different episode this week. John and I together. Second time we've been able to shoot some content together, so bear with us. Might take a little bit longer to get it up, but hopefully get you guys that same good old insight. John, how you doing? Feels good to do it together.
Ben had a 15-hour trip yesterday, a long layover in Charlotte. So if he's a little under the weather today, if he's not his usual sharp self, we'll see how that all goes down. But we started off our weekend real strong Friday, sweep of the board. Didn't finish out that way. Got kind of let down yesterday. Same old story, beat the number, just can't get the win. Saturday had an ugly game with the Charlotte Hornets. We took 9.5. That game closed 7 or 7.5. A big beat. Didn't matter. We could have took 37.5. Game, they lose by 41. But we're going to be back on the Charlotte Hornets again today, and I'll explain why. So glad you guys are with us, and let's get started. Ben, big card today. I don't know, should we talk a little about Ohtani, the gambler? So that press conference is going to go on a little bit later today, or maybe by the time you guys see it, it'll have been gone already. This is a mess for Major League Baseball. This guy is either an idiot, and his friend, supposed friend, interpreter, is just out now robbing him. He's a good guy, helping his friend out, trying to keep it on the QT, which is no good either for baseball. Or he's got some Pete Rose, Calvin Ridley in him, and he's the fucking gambler. Either way, this is not a good, we talk about the futures. And I told you guys all the time I don't really get in because anything can happen. And I said, if there was one future, that 103.5 just looks low. How low would it look if Ohtani got some kind of suspension? Even if it wasn't the entire season or his entire career, that's not going to happen. But what if there's 3 investigations going on right now? One of them happens to be the IRS. Yeah. So we're talking about out-of-baseball stuff. So there's some issues going on.
I saw the rule set up that was for the MLB. The official rule with it is if anyone is caught as far as having any funds being sent to any illegal bookies or anything of the sorts, that the punishment is up to the perception of the commissioner on what he deems is reasonable for the situation. So it is very vague in the MLB rule book, and I think for situations like this, I mean, they don't want Ohtani out of missing games. There's too much money to commit. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. We'll see how that presser goes. You guys will know closer to by the time you watch this is what's going on with that. And we will have baseball full swing on Thursday, guys. On Wednesday, we'll have an episode with an MLB season preview. So make sure you come back here on Wednesday, and we'll be running down the full MLB. I mean, those lines are already out. We got pitching matchups starting to come up. So if you guys want MLB bets that might be coming out the next couple of days, you guys know where to sign up, MassaEdge.com, or download the Massa Edge app. Got a nice big card here. Some gross games, though. Just a lot of injuries. A lot of these teams now getting more and more shorthanded. You got Brooklyn, Toronto, Memphis, Charlotte, Portland, and they're all just dealing with so many injuries. And that's what we got with this first game. Charlotte at Cleveland. This Hornets team just did us dirty the other night against Atlanta. They had won many of their last trips there to the Hawks. Couldn't get it done that game. Bridges, he had a nice performance. They couldn't shoot well from deep. Blown out by 40. Then you have this Cavs team who just got blown out by Miami yesterday. And John and I were talking about it. We're just waiting for one of these games. I mean, they finally now dropped 3 in a row. They played really well the first stretch with Garland and Mobley both out. I think they went 14-3 over the month and a half with that. And then they started having a Mitchell injury, and somehow they were still hanging around with the Mitchell injury. Mobley comes back, they get blown out, and it's adding up now for the Cavs. But they do have a little bit of success in this matchup. History, 3 of the last 4 meetings. Hornets, though, all the success going to Cleveland. They're 5-3 straight up, but 6-1-1 against the spread. 2 really banged up teams, but a lot of points for 2 banged up teams, John.
Yeah, we took 12.5 in this game. First thing this morning, this is a crazy number. You got Charlotte. Admittedly, they suck. But this will be just their second game in 6-day span. So they'll have fresh legs against the shorthanded Cleveland team that's not only back-to-back, but fourth city in 6 days. So we know Mitchell, leading scorer, he's out. Strus, another starter, he's out. Mobley played 21 minutes last night. He'd missed the prior, I believe, 9 games it was. I don't see him playing today. If he plays, he's going to be limited. The only guy that has a possibility coming back who comes off the bench is Dean Wade. So you could be down another 3 starters, call it 2.5 with the Mobley situation, back-to-back, 4th and 6th against the rested Charlotte team that's coming off an embarrassing loss. I expect them to show up. This one they'll keep under double digits. We took this one plus 12.5.
We got Pistons going on to New York, taking on the Knicks. This Detroit team, they're back-to-back. They hung around for a backdoor there against the Pelicans. And another team just playing absolutely decimated. Cunningham, he missed yesterday. He's supposed to be coming back, and got to see what's going on with Duran and Fontecchio, however you say it. But yeah, they're playing very shorthanded. The game they played with the Pelicans yesterday looked like a G League roster. You got this Knicks team who put together a good win in their last one, but they've been playing so shorthanded. You got McBride and Hart playing 40, 44, 48 minutes some nights. McBride coming off a 48-minute game. Matchup history is kind of all Knicks. I mean, 14 straight wins, 10 and 4 against the spread. But Pistons, they've now covered 3 straight trips to New York. They've covered them twice this year there. And but by both those losses, by 8 points, we're looking at a big 16-point favorite for a Knicks team who's running guys 48 minutes. I mean, it's just tough to be able to cover a big number. It's going to add up. These big minutes is going to start haunting them sooner than later.
16.5. That's what we actually took on this game. Same thing this morning. Just an outrageous number. Knicks. Here, let me get it. What have they scored? They've scored over 107 points only once in their last 12 games. They're not scoring points, as Ben talked about. McBride, I believe, is averaging 46.2 with 3 minutes over the course of his last 3 games. This is not a game they're going to get up for the Detroit Pistons. I almost could say, hey, sprinkle a couple of pennies on the outright. This could be a shocker. Cunningham didn't play yesterday. That was for rest. He'll play today. Duran missed the last couple of games. In his place, Weissman's had a couple of fantastic games. Let's just see if the Knicks don't get up for this game. Either way, 16.5. This would have been a bigger bet if it wasn't the end of the season, if it wasn't a Detroit team that you don't know why they show up. It's very tough. But Charlotte, Detroit, these would have been bigger. They're 2-unit bets, but they would have been bigger bets if this was in the middle part of the season. We'll still make these 2-unit bets, so we get the Pistons plus 16.5 in this one. As Ben said, they've owned them. Knicks have owned them 14 straight, 7 straight in the Garden, but Pistons have covered the last 3 at the Garden, including 2 this year. They're playing them tough. I expect them to come with a real game today. Pistons back-to-back, but again, they played in the afternoon yesterday, so it's not like they're getting it 2, 3 in the morning for a rough game tonight. I look for the Pistons to give them a real challenge today.
We got Nets at Toronto. I mean, these are just another couple of these teams just really banged up. The injuries are added up, and everything says that. I mean, you have Nets now lost 6 in a row, 1-5 against the spread. Raptors, they've lost 10 in a row, 3-7 against the spread. Both are struggling at home and on the road. Nets, they're 5-21 straight up against the spread. Their last 26 on the road, bottom 3 in the NBA on the against the spread record on the road this season. And the Raptors, 3-12 straight up against the spread. Their last 15 at home. So 2 teams decimated, 2 teams really not playing good basketball, 2 teams I don't want money on. Can't make the Nets this number on the road, so it's Toronto or nobody, but it's not really the Raptors. You're back in a Raptors G League team, and a lot of under trends, and reasonably so, with all these guys missing out in this game.
Yeah, you got a lot of guys missing out. A few more for the Nets. Cam Johnson, Dennis Smith Jr. will be out. Cam Johnson just got back in the starting lineup after he came off the injury last few games. Dennis Smith Jr., he's your backup point guard. You're missing Simmons, obviously, for quite a while now. He was your other ball handler. This leaves it to Schroeder to handle the ball. These are 2 teams that should have been or were predicted to at least be playing teams, now just playing out the strength. Never want a team like that. If you guys remember, well, if my members remember, first game after the All-Star break, we were on the Nets. At Toronto, similar situation. Nets had owned the series, had won, I believe, 5 straight going into that game, and they got blitzed. It looked like Toronto was going to make a little run. Since then, Toronto has been decimated. Podol, Barnes, Barrett, Quickly all remain out. Trent has played a game, sat a game, played a game. He's probable right now, but who knows who they're going to sit. I'm all over the under in this one, and I'll tell you why. What do we got here? We've got 6 of the last 7 meetings have gone under. both this year at an average of 216 per game. Under is 23-12 in the Raptors' home games this year, and the last six overall have all gone under at 216.5. Two of the Nets' last three, they've gone under. Take away 4 starters for the Raptors. Nets will be short a couple of guys all over the under. We went under 219.5 in this one. Well, actually, we didn't go under on this one yet. So we will be going under. We're just waiting for this one. So going to be going under, just waiting for the right number for this one. Right now it's at 219.5.
We got the Celtics at Atlanta game. This Boston team right now just doesn't matter who's playing. They're chucking up threes. They're hitting them. The other night it was Sam Hauser and Al Horford getting it done. There was no Porzingis, no Brown, no Holiday, who's going to be out for his 5th straight game today. Got to see Derek White. He's questionable. And honestly, it doesn't matter if Derek White's out. They're going to have that role filled in. Peyton Pritchard's going to go in. He's going to get extra minutes. Sam Hauser's going to get a little bit more extra minutes off the bench. It's just this Boston team keeps getting it done. 9 straight wins, 8-1 against the spread. They're 14-2, their last 16 on the road. And this Hawks team, they're not playing that great of basketball right now. 2-5 straight up against the spread their last 7. Matchup history, all Boston. It's 11-2 the last 13 meetings. Beat them in the playoffs last year. They won 2 games in Boston this year by combined 18 points. 4-1 the last 5 trips to Atlanta. It's square, but I can't give you a reason to bet against the Celtics today.
Can't. You guys know, if you're followers or if you're members, how much better I've got the Celtics than anybody else. And as Ben said, it just doesn't matter what 5 they put on the court. On back-to-backs, they're sitting half the starters one day, half the starters the next day, and they're winning and covering both games. So, yeah, we know Holiday's going to be out today. We don't know about White. He was the only starter that played in the back-to-back. We'll see if he's on the court for tonight. With that being said, Hawks, part of the reason we bet the Hornets in the last game against the Hawks were coming back from a West Coast trip, and they're in no man's land. Hawks is safely in the 10 seed. They're 5.5 games ahead of the Nets. So nobody's going to catch the Hawks for the playing spot. They trail the Bulls by 2.5 for the 9 spot. That means home court for that first round game. And then they're 7.5 back from Philly and Miami for the 7 and 8 spot. They're not have a shot for that. So what motivation they've got is catch the Bulls, pass the Bulls for the 9 spot. It's another team rounding out the season right now and playing very shorthanded. You obviously got Trae Young out. You've got both forwards, Johnson and Bay out. Akanagu just came back. He played 2 games. Now he's going to miss the 2nd game in a row. Just don't see the Hawks having much to play for. Celtics name the number.
We got Wizards at Chicago next. This Washington team, believe it or not, won 2 games in a row. Last one against the Raptors. Yeah, they don't do it much. They get the last couple. And even in those 2 wins, they didn't cover a spread in one of them. So still just 1-6 against the spread their last 7. They were pretty good all season long against the spread on the road, but that's kind of regressed the last couple of weeks here. Now they're just 1-8, 2-7 against the spread the last 9 on the road. And you have the Chicago team who lost to that Celtics team who was decimated. Didn't matter. They couldn't get it done. DeRozan had a solid performance there. Bulls, they haven't covered 3 in a row. They're 3-9 against the spread their last 12 at home. And you talk about, no man's land with Atlanta in that last game. It's not much different here for Chicago. They're most likely not catching Philly. The only thing I guess they had to worry about is trying to avoid blowing that home court advantage for that 9 versus 10 play. And so they got a couple of game lead on that. I mean, ideally, this is a game, if you're the Bulls, you want to keep that home court for that game. So this is a game you don't let slip against the worst team in the NBA. But still, I don't want to be laying the points here in this matchup. Would be the slightest leans to Washington, who's coming off a couple of wins.
Yeah, I can't back Washington. They'll also be without Kuzma, the point guard Jones. He's been out. He's missed the last 5 or so games, and they're listing Poole questionable. They listed him questionable last game. He did wind up playing. Poole's been in the starting lineup since Jones has been out handling the point guard responsibilities. Wizards coming off 2 straight wins. I neglected to check when the last time they won 3 straight was. Chicago coming off the beatdown against the shorthanded Celtics. They'll look to get a W, as Ben said. Want to just stay ahead of the Hawks. This is a game you got to win at home with one of the worst teams in the league, the Wizards, and they're going to be shorthanded. Still not looking to lay double digits in this one. This one was one we'll sit back. But they just met last week, and they beat them 127-98. Bulls beat the Wizards in Chicago. So it's a replay of that game. Wizards don't do well at Chicago. They've lost 7 of their last 8 trips there, and just 2-6 against the spread. It's Bulls or nobody, but do I want to lay this price? A double-digit favorite or another? Don't want to lay it.
You got Suns going on in San Antonio, second game of a 2-game set here. Spurs, they got them twice, and they got us twice earlier this season in Phoenix. We went on in those games, and we saw in this last game what we expected from Suns earlier this season. Beat them 131-106. The big three showed out. Booker and KD very efficient with the scoring. Booker, 9 assists. Beal, he led 12 assists. So when that big three's firing all cylinders like that offensively, it is a tough team to beat. San Antonio, they didn't get it going offensively. Wemby, he played just 20 minutes. He's questionable to go in this one. He tweaked that ankle a couple games back. He's played in the 2 games since, but he's not been playing full minutes, and we're waiting for that night. He gets the night off. So have to see what's up with him. How high does this number go if Wemby is ruled out? San Antonio on the homestand right now, just 1-6, 3-4 against the spread. They started off great covering since the All-Star break fell off here, but definitely a little bit of a look ahead here for Phoenix. Don't want to be backing them in the second game of a 2-game set.
Big look ahead for Phoenix, and that's the only reason I'm looking towards San Antonio right now. Suns have owned this series in San Antonio. They've won 8 straight meetings, 6-1-1 against the spread. They buried them the last game, which we knew they would. Line makers did a great job making that a double-digit number, just kept us off the game. Ben said it. This is a look-ahead spot. So it's not only a 2-game series, and they crushed the home team in the first one. They're looking ahead to a Denver, OKC, New Orleans trip. So huge look ahead. I'm actually hoping Wemby's out. Wemby's out. This number is going to go even higher. We'll take a nice big-size double-digit number. And so we're going to wait on that Wemby info. For me, even though Phoenix has owned the situation, owned the matchup, even though Phoenix just looks like they're starting to pick it up a little bit, to me it's San Antonio. Nobody had a big number.
We got Blazers at Rockets in this next matchup. This is conflicting interest here as far as trends and everything else. I mean, you look at this Blazers team. They played, Nuggets without Jokic, without Murray. They didn't win, but they covered in that game. Houston, the hottest team on the planet, maybe except for Boston.
Except for the Celtics.
Yeah, 8 straight wins, 10-1 their last 11, and the second best ATS home team at home this season. They just keep getting it done there. Matchup history is where it gets interesting. You have this Rockets team who wins at Portland earlier in March, but Blazers 4-0 the last 4 trips to Houston. They've been doing great on the road. They're 8-2 ATS their last 10 road games. I know this Rockets team's absolutely red hot right now, but you have Jalen Smith who just got suspended. You're already without Sengun, so now you're starting to lose some size. That's another interesting thing. Rockets are hot as ever right now. They're doing this without Sengun, so that's something we got to look at the effect of Sengun a bit there. But without Smith here, a bit of a big line. As bad as Portland is, as hot as Houston is, the matchup history, the road trends, I lean a little bit to the Blazers in this one.
If the Blazers would ever put their whole team on the court at one shot. So Grant's been out 7 games, 8 games, and he played a game and missed a few before that. So this might be a shutdown guy, and they just keep listing him questionable every day. I got to mark this out. DeAndre Ayton was playing some phenomenal basketball, doing double-doubles on a daily basis, but now he's missed the last couple of games. Simons, he missed the last game. I think that was more of a rest. I expect him to be for that. And as Ben said, Jabari Smith had that little altercation with Chris Dunn. He's suspended for tonight's game. And again, he was filling in the center position for Sengun, who, again, the Rockets, Jalen Green is just taking over. Me and Ben were talking about it last night. Maybe she get another girl pregnant. Maybe that'll elevate his game even more. What's ever going on with the Rockets? Draymond Green says he ain't worried about the Rockets. He better worry. They are 1 game behind Golden State right now, entering play today. Here's a game that the Rockets have to win. I get the Portland matchup history in Houston, but here's a game I just can't seeing the Rockets let slip away. It's an overlay. By that we mean I feel the line should be about 11.5, 11 to 11.5, not 12.5, not 13. I can't lay it. No way in the world do I want Portland in a game the Rockets have to have. They've been playing real good ball.
We got Grizzlies going on to Denver. This Memphis team coming off a tight win. They've had a few days off. They last played on Friday to get it done at San Antonio. another team just decimated, absolutely decimated. If you go look, I think they have the most guys on the injured list this season. I mean, you're supposed to have, 15 guys to a roster. They have about 15 guys on an injury list, and then 7 guys have been playing just G League call-up after G League call-up. Bane, he's questionable right now. But they keep covering. 4-2 against the spread their last 6. 9-4 against the spread their last 13 on the road. Haven't had much success in Denver. I mean, Denver's owned them there. 10-1, 9-2 against the spread the last 11 meetings. But granted, a lot of those weren't 15-point favorites. So really, really big line on this game here for the Nuggets, who've been playing pretty good ball. They've been getting it done at home. You got a Nuggets team who's trying to get this 1 seed. So obviously this is a game they're going to take advantage, take care of business in. Just a lot of points. Could be one at halftime. If Denver has a big lead, would be interested in the Grizzlies at a bigger price.
Yeah, as we talked about Phoenix before, they got Denver next. Obviously, Denver's got Phoenix next. As far as that, the home ownership, granted, the point spreads weren't 15 points last year, but that's what Denver went and beat them by an average of 15 a game last year and by 37 earlier this year. This is just not a fair fight. We used to make a joke about what an idiot brings a fucking knife to a gunfight. Well, that's what Memphis is coming with, a knife to a gunfight. Denver now with OKC's loss OKC's lost to the Bucks yesterday. Sole possession of first place. Not about to lose it to Memphis. They've had a day off. They've got a day off tomorrow, so I don't see any reason why Murray and Jokic would sit again today. You pretty much would get them out there, keep them in tune. But a big number. Am I laying this number? I'm not, but no way in the world do I want this Grizzly team absolutely decimated. Play a little better ball when Bane come back. But again, he's questionable after missing the last game. And then you got lesser guys. Kennard out. Williams out. Concha, he's questionable. Just no way to take that mass unit. So here's the game, as Ben said, we'll watch maybe a little something at halftime.
We got Mavs at Utah. This might be the weirdest scheduling game I've seen in a long time in the NBA. So they just played Utah on Thursday. They did that in Dallas. They beat them by 16. They win. They cover. Luka, by the way, he had 34 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and that actually brought his averages down. That's how ridiculous he's been playing this season. Then you got this Utah team who, in between, they had a game. They had a game at Houston. They got absolutely decimated there, 147-119. They allowed them to hit 27 from 3. They got cooked by Van Fleet and Jalen Green. Tough game there for Utah. They've now lost 5 straight. They're 3-8, 4-7 against spread the last 11 at home. Dallas, they've been getting it done lately. They're 7-4, 8-3 against spread the last 11 on the road. 7-1 their last 8 overall. So weird scheduling. You got Dallas who had multiple days off. Utah with the game in between on the 2-game set, and a massive look ahead. And you got another one for the Kings as well. Dallas and Sacramento tied up right now record-wise, both playing tonight, both playing tomorrow in a start of a 2-game set. They're fighting not only to try and get out of the play-in, but if they end up in the play-in, who gets the home seed for that 7th seed for the play-in?
Huge look ahead. You can't overstate it. So Phoenix right now in the 6th spot, 8 games out. Sac and Dallas tied the same exact record, 8.5 out. So both teams playing a 2-game set in Sacramento, as Ben said, both looking to climb out of that play-in. But that worst-case scenario, you want to have the heads up on your opponent. So this is a big look-ahead game. Only reason I'm not all over the Jazz is they don't look like they're trying to send guys out there to play anymore. Clarkson's been out since, I don't know, it seems like Valentine's Day. Marketing, same kind of thing. He plays a game, he sits a game. So as we know right now, both guys are still listed questionable. Don't know if I expect either of those to play. It's Utah or nobody if these guys are playing just because of the spot for Dallas. Hey, I wouldn't be shocked if the Utah guys are out. Do they give Doncic a night off? We're coming up with a 2-game set. So it's Utah or nobody. Again, as usual, waiting on injury reports. 2 o'clock, for the guys that don't know, NBA issues the initial today's injury report, 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll be all over that.
76ers.
Well, I'm sorry, Ben. Well, we didn't talk about the under in that game, and that's another game that we're looking at under. So, what you want to hit those stats?
Yeah, last 2 meetings they went under. Obviously, the one they just played on Thursday that averaged just over 213. Jazz, their last game went over, but they were playing with Houston. Houston's been flying over. Another thing we forgot to mention on that game as well. Houston been flying over lately. Prior to that, though, their last four games went under. Mavs, their last 3 games went under. So under trends across the board. You got guys who are looking to sit now. and potentially someone from Dallas getting a night off. Got to see what that looks like later with these injury reports. But yeah, all signs to the under on the total in that one.
And let me go further. We've got two refs tonight. Forte under his 35-19 in his games, and Van Duyn under his 36-20 in his games. So the ref stats on top of what this is an under. We're just waiting for the number. We'll be on the under in the Dallas-Utah game. And then if somebody sits out, even better.
We got 76ers at Sacramento. This Philly team coming off a nice win against the Clippers yesterday to get that one done by double digits. Harris, Maxey, Payne all scored 24, 24, and 23. So nice little even scoring performance from them. They've been playing pretty decent basketball these last little games here. 4-1 against the spread their last 5 now. And you have this Kings team, which, by the way, if anyone had money on Orlando the other night, that foul that Fox got at half court.
Terrible.
Yeah, so sorry.
And how delayed was that?
Yeah, at least 4 or 5 seconds.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, I understand what gives these guys. It gets fixed. Vegas made the call because that was an ugly call. I got to say.
Yeah, sorry who had that, but Sacramento pulled out the win with that call going their favor. I don't think they can't get it done at home. They're 500 at home the last 14 games, 7-7, 4-10 against the spread, and Philly owns this matchup. 10 straight wins, and they've now won 4 straight in Sacramento by an average of 8.5 points. You got a lot of under trends on this game as well. Kings are flying under. 76ers, 8 of their last 9 flying under. So this is all the way typical sharp spot. Dog with the points, the under, and a low-scoring tight one.
Look, granted, a lot of the trend is due to Embiid, who obviously is out. But all of a sudden, Harris picked up his game yesterday. He'd been out for a little bit. Maxey, both of those guys were injured. They're getting back on par. Aubrey helping the situation out. Same thing. Philly in a back-to-back, but again, they played in the afternoon. Sac is coming off Sac is 4th and 6th off an East Coast trip. And as we talked about Dallas, same big look ahead for them. They got Dallas coming into town tomorrow for a 2-game set. This is a double digits. Everything here says Philly and under, and that's what we're on. 2-unit bet on the 76ers and a 1-unit bet on the under.
And we have this last game on the card, Pacers at the Clippers. Both teams on a back-to-back here. You have Indiana, who hard fought with the Lakers last night. Couldn't quite get the back door for us. They were trying late. They lose that one by 5. They had 8 reach double figures. Everyone involved there. Siakam, big night. He had 36. Indy, you guys know what they've been doing on the road lately. We keep preaching it. They had won their 5 prior road games by double digits. And then you have this Clippers team coming off a disgusting loss against the 76ers. Powell, he came back. He gave them some good minutes off the bench. Westbrook, he's supposed to come back. He's much needed. With those two guys, when they're banked up, I mean, they just did not look like the same team. That depth is what makes them so good. They're an older team. So as this season goes on, that depth is really, really important. We'll see how the Clippers start looking here. Clippers, 7-2 the last 9 meetings. They beat them pretty good in Indy early this year. Really high-scoring game. They put up $150 on them. Wouldn't be surprised to see something similar in this game here. You had the Lakers put up $150 on them last night. Indy down the long back end of this trip with the back-to-back. They are the NBA worst, 2-10 against the spread on a back-to-back. Yes, they have the depth. They have the 8 who reached double figures yesterday. Problem is, on these back-to-backs, the defense, it takes effort. And there's one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, and it gets even worse on these back-to-backs. So, and another part of the ownership here with the Clippers, it's Paul George. That's where he started off in his career. He doesn't want to lose to the team he started off to, the team that drafted him. So all signs here, in my eyes, point to the Clippers, and a little bit of a lean to the over in this one.
The Clippers, the spot is for the Clippers, but my numbers say it's too many points. Look, Pacers up until last night were playing phenomenal. 5 straight wins on the road, double digits. Golden State playing good teams. Golden State, OKC, Magic beating good teams on the road. Just came in and laid an egg. That was a game that was supposed to have. That was revenge for the in-season tournament championship. You know the Pacers had that circled on their calendar. So it's good. Do they get up for a second game in a row? And as Ben gave you the stat, 2-10, a league worst. 2-10, no days rest. Going to be tough. Who knows if the Pacers even sit somebody for a day off today. Clippers, they're going to want to get back on the right track after a loss. So both teams back-to-back, but once again, Clippers played in the afternoon. Pacers had the night game, so a little more of an edge for the Clippers. Everything's like I said, for the Clippers or the edges. My numbers, my ratings just don't make the game that high, so I'll be sitting off this one unless there's a major turn. We do expect Westbrook back tonight. Don't expect much out of him. He's been out since the beginning of March.
Yeah, that was one of those weird 2 games in LA in the same day. Clippers playing the early game, the Lakers playing the night game.
So they have a few of those on Sundays.
Yep. So they had one of those yesterday. That's the NBA slate, guys. You guys see we have a good amount of bets already out. We have a good amount of under circled, good amount of injuries we'll be looking at to add any bets later on the day. And if you haven't yet, it's been scrolling down here below this whole time. Sign up, massaedge.com, or download the Massa Edge app, guys. Baseball. Here's on Thursday, John. We're getting things going with it.
Yeah, so we give you 3 sides today, and how if you bet basketball, I don't know why you would not watch this fucking podcast, because you get the fucking right sides early in the morning. 3 bets. We've already made 1 total bet. We have 2 other bets that we're definitely making on totals. You get it all here if you watch the podcast. Give us some love. We'll start shooting podcasts every day again. Baseball right around the corner. We are going to do a season preview on Wednesday for the baseball, so you guys are going to want to check that out.
Yep, make sure you guys come back on Wednesday. As always, as we ask, like, subscribe, comment below, especially if you guys want us coming back 5 days a week as we get on into baseball season and NBA playoffs. I'm sure you're going to want us here daily, so please make it worth our while. Other than that, yeah, John and I are going to have some special content things out this week since we'll be doing stuff together. Stay tuned for that. And hey, let's make some money.
Let's make some money.